Hello everyone, it's Marie here again for Tonic Studios, and I'm going to give you a look at the stamp club for the month of March. This is the Picnic Party Stamp Club. It's full of really fun images for a summery themed card and some really fun sentiments. So let's look at the stamp club for this month, and I'm going to give you some ideas and kind of put together a quick card. Here is the stamp and die set. So these stamps and dies coordinate together. You can stamp, color, cut out the images with the coordinating dies. And just like Tonic does with all the stamp clubs, they also give you some more dies that don't coordinate, but they can go along with the theme, and you can mix and match everything to make some really fun cards. So let's start with this stamp set because I always think the images are really fun. We've got some picnic theme images here. Goes along with the name Picnic Party. You've got some really fun pieces of food here, like a sandwich, an apple, bottle of ketchup, cheese, grapes, and this little apple core here that is half eaten. I think that's kind of fun. You've also got some little lemonade glasses or water, whatever you want to put in there, a wine bottle and a wine glass if you want to have a little bit more of a fancy picnic, a pitcher of lemonade, plate, a cutting board, and a loaf of bread. So I've got a few of these cards already made I want to show you here. So I've got that picnic basket stamped and colored. I used a little bit of Nuvo dots here to make sort of raised polka dots. I thought that was really fun. Filled the basket with some apples. Here's that lemonade glass all filled with some fun lemonade. A sandwich on a plate and that pitcher of lemonade in the back. Now this little background here is also made with the coordinating dies. So let me show you what is in the dies here. Obviously we have the dies that coordinate with the images that you can stamp and color, but there's also some dies that you can use on their own. So they've got this really fun background die, which is what I used here. It gives you the thought or the look of a picnic blanket. So I thought that was really fun. And they also have this little stitched border here. So I've cut that out of just the plain cardstock. Don't know if you can see it really well on my camera, but it gives you a really fun stitched border around this rectangle, makes it kind of look like a blanket. So you can layer that together with this checkered design and make your own picnic blanket for your cards to go with all of these fun images. All right, so along with all of those, I also made another card that was more of the wine theme. So if you like to have some cheese and grapes and wine, you can absolutely go ahead and make a card in that theme. Again, I cut out that background with some red cardstock and I layered it behind some plain white cardstock, put all of my images on there and stamped the sentiments. Now the sentiments are really fun. They kind of go along with the whole theme. So I want to show you some of the sentiments that are included with these stamps. They've got time to wind down, let's do lunch, let's catch up, you're so, and you can pair that with romantic because there's ants. Get it? You're so important to me. There's wine, not, and sometime soon. So you can go ahead and mix and match all of those sentiments to make some really cute cards to send to a friend. So like I already showed you, there are a few cards that I've already made, and I've got a card somewhat started here. I've stamped out this basket, colored it, and I thought it would be fun to make sort of a trail of ants coming out of this basket, carrying away some of the food, and then stamping one of the punny sentiments to go along. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take my little card front here, and I'm going to grab these little ants. I think they're so cute. Make sure that they are going the right way. And I want them to kind of come trailing out of this basket right here on the side. and I might actually go ahead and emboss them so that they will kind of stick up off the paper, be a little bit shiny, and give the card a little bit more dimension. So let me grab my embossing materials here. All right, so here is the embossing ink from Nuvo. It's just a clear sticky ink, and you're not really gonna see it show up on your cardstock, but the magic happens after you stamp it and you sprinkle on some embossing powder, and then you get to heat it up and melt that embossing powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my ants right there. And sometimes you can kind of turn it and see in the light if it's stamped all right. And I think it did. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle on some black embossing powder. And I suppose you could do red too if you wanted these to be red ants, but we're going to go with black today. So here's some black embossing powder. Just going to sprinkle that on. Tap off any of the extra. I might do a little bit more of a sprinkle right there. And you do want to kind of clean up any areas. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you have a lot of the embossing powder kind of hanging on, you could go ahead and clean it up with your finger or with a brush. Just brush it away, because once you heat it, it's going to melt and it's going to stick onto your paper. So if you leave all of that loose powder there, it's not going to be a clean emboss. It's going to have little specks here and there on your paper, and you don't have to worry about it. It's handmade, so people are going to love what you make anyway. But if it bothers you, or if you're a perfectionist, just go ahead and brush it away. So I'm going to do another little stamp here of some ants all in a row. I want it to kind of trail off of my cardstock. Looks like they are stealing the food out of the basket. So I'm going to go ahead and put some more embossing powder on here. This is just black embossing powder. Tap off the extra. Clean it up a little bit. And then I use my coffee filter to kind of just collect all of the extra powder and just dump it back into my little jar so that I can put the lid on, put it away, and use it again later. All right, then you can just go ahead and grab your heat gun and go ahead and melt that powder. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. Might be a little bit loud, but it's just gonna heat up. And once it gets hot enough, I can take it to that powder, melt it, and it's gonna be melted onto my cardstock. And it's gonna dry sort of raised and sort of shiny. So it's gonna make those ants stand out a little bit. All right, careful with the heat gun. It gets really hot, so I'm just gonna set it aside to cool down, but I've got those ants embossed. It's really cute. Looks like they're coming out of that picnic basket there. Now, before I start putting some of my food in the basket and start giving the ants little pieces of food to steal, I'm gonna stamp on my sentiment. Since I wanna put some things on foam adhesive, it's gonna be easier to stamp the sentiment on before I put on all of my images and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my stamp platform and some ink, and I'm going to figure out a fun sentiment for this. So we have to use some of those ant puns. Let's put "you're so important to me." So let's find all of those. I'm going to start with important because that's going to be in the middle, and then I can put my other sentiments around it. So here is my black hybrid ink from Nuvo. Go ahead and stamp that several times. Give a good impression. And then I'm going to put my other sentiments around it. So here's the yours so. I'm going to kind of off center it here. And then to me is going to go down here. So that's going to be really cute. All right. Ink those up and stamp them out. Okay, so I've got that stamped about 2-3 times, and the sentiment is looking pretty good. You can read it well. So I'm going to move this to the side and add some of my fun images here. So I already had some stamped and colored and cut out. I've got some apples here, ketchup bottle, a sandwich. So I'm just gonna start adding these with some foam adhesive to my background. So I'm using some of the Craft Perfect adhesive squares. These are really easy to use on my cards and on my little stamped in colored images. They are just so easy to use. I love that the backing paper comes off easily. So I'm going to add this one here on just like a angle. And then just kind of start adding the food above the ants, making a trail that goes off the side of the card. So, can I get this apple core in here? Perhaps. Yep. One little square fits perfectly on that apple core. So I'm going to start adding this right above my little ants. And have them trailing off the card, carrying away all the food. What else can we have them take here? Maybe I'll have them take the grapes. Don't know if you can hear my kids in the background. They're in the back room playing, doing something. I don't know what. I guess I'll find out when I'm done here. All right. So that is really cute, really simple, and all I have to do now is add that to a card base, and my card is finished. So these little images and dies are so fun and easy to use. You can make simple cards, you can go all out and make something more complicated, whatever you want to do. All right, so here is a card base. I've cut it down to be a little bit smaller than my A2 size card, so I'll have a border around the edges, and I'm going to pop it up onto my card base with some of these bigger foam squares from Tonic. So I'm just going to add one in each corner. And one to the middle for some support. Peel off that backing paper. Stick it down on my card front, and then my card is finished. So it can be super simple, or you can add more to it if you like. So that is a little look at the March Stamp Club, the picnic party. I think it's really fun. It's got some fun puns to it, some fun images. You can make a picnic theme, or you can dress it up for a wine and cheese theme if you want. But there's lots of things that you can do. Have fun coloring, cutting, putting things together. So thanks for joining us today at Tonic Studios. I hope you enjoyed a look at the Stamp Club for this month. If you make anything and you post it on social media, please tag us. We love to see what you're creating, and we get inspired by you. So tag Tonic Studios. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, comment, like, and tap that bell for notifications so you never miss another video from Tonic Studios. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.